I just need to place an underscore before each of these counts. Okay? So I'll just save that and I'll run it. So when I create my object 1, an object is created. When I create my object 2, an object is created. But now, if somebody wants to do something like by saying home electricals.count, I want to make it equal to 10. Okay? It does that. But this count is not the same as this count, because this count is just another variable which is being created, but it is not this underscore count. Okay, how do I check it? Home electricals.count will be 10. That's because you created another variable. But if you do home electricals count, it says home electricals has no attribute underscore count. You can't change. You may be able to write your home electricals.count, but you cannot change home electricals count. You cannot make this as 10. Why? If I print this out, it says it has happened or underscore count as 10. But have a look, okay? You will not have this value. Still, it will not change. How can I be so sure? Because it can never be accessed outside. You need to remember that. You can never access it outside. You can assign it, but this count will always be different from this count. Why? You can never access it, which means you can never print it also from outside. You need to try another method called as getCount. We're just going to take self as one of the arguments. Okay, all I need to do is print I just need to return what is the current count, that is home electricals dot underscore count. I just need to return that. Save this, run it. Okay, let's run this out and say ob1 dot in get count. Sorry, it's 1. Let me just change the home electricals dot count. Let me make it as 10. But still, what is ob1 dot get count? It's always 1. You cannot change the home electricals or underscore count. What if I make home electricals dot underscore count as 10, and then if I change the ob1 and if I access this, it's still going to be 1, because I told you this count which you made out here and which you made out here is not the same as the count which is there inside the glass. That can never be changed from outside. You can never change it. Alright? So this is something that you need to understand when you create it. Alright? Now let me say if I delete my object by saying del ob1. Okay? Can I call this getCount ever? Can I call this getCount ever? Can I call it with the class name home electricals dot getCount? Can I call it with the class name? Is it possible? It says no. GetCount is missing one required position argument, that is self. See, whenever the object was calling getCount, okay, it was easy for me because self was being passed, because the object was passing itself. But whenever a class calls the same method, when a class will call a method, the getCount, the class does not pass itself, which means getCount requires one argument, but the home electricals.getCount does not pass an argument. So what must you do? What must we do? One of the options that you have is remove the self. Save it. Now if I run this and if I create my ob1, I cannot I will call it with homeelectricals.getCount. And will tell me 1. If I create OB2, and if I do homeelectricals.getCount, it will say 2. If I delete my OB2, and if I do my homeelectricals.getCount, it will say it's 1. So even if I delete my OB1, there is no object remaining for me. If I do homeelectricals.getCount, it will be 0. But what if there was an object? Let's say OB2 was there. Can I access with this object the getCount? Can I access the getCount with this object? Yes or no? No. Why? Because getCount takes 0 now. GetCount takes 0 position argument, but 1 was given. What is this 1 argument that was given? Whenever an object calls a method, the object passes itself. But whenever a class calls the same method, it does not pass itself. Now I want to create a method which can be called by a class as well as an object. Such a method is called as a static method. Just before the method, you need to write something called as static method without anything. You just need to write @static method, save it, and run it. Now let me create an OB2. Can I call it with homeelectricals.getCount? Yes. Can I call it with OB2.getCount? Yes. GetCount can be called by the class name as well as the object name. And this is how we can use static methods. Hope you have understood enough details about a class, creating objects, and stuff like that. We'll deal with another concept in the next session about inheritance, as well as a few other concepts before we go on to the actual working out of our IoT projects. Hope you have understood up till now. Get into the mode of practicing with a few questions, which you can get online. Alright? Till then, happy learning.